Hi, I'm Beth from Restyled Pieces Boutique. Welcome back. Today I'm going to be taking this Bassett nightstand. It is brown and older, but it's in great shape. Has some scrollies on it I don't really like, and I want to make it more modern and contemporary. So I'm going to be doing a makeover on it today. And if you'd like to see how it turns out, stay tuned. So as usual, the first thing I do when I get my piece is to take off the hardware. You see this is some old hardware that I don't really like, and I plan on filling that in and doing something differently. I also didn't like the scroll work on these legs, so I decided to take them off and just kind of cut the edge of the scroll work off. So my husband and I used our Ryobi table saw to make short work of those little scroll pieces on the feet. So I just wanted some more contemporary feet, and so it always helps to have a buddy when you're using the table saw. I wanted to take this old finish off of the feet in case I wanted to make a natural top and the natural feet to match. So I just sanded that off with my Surf Prep 3x4, and as you can see, it has beautiful grain. It lightened it up so much. And then I will just place those on there after I decide what finish I want on, and it'll be a nice contemporary look. And clean, clean, clean. It's dusty, it's dirty, so I always vacuum out my pieces first, and then I use my Cred cutter, which is a degreaser, to clean those inside and out. Cred cutter also needs to be rinsed, so you want to rinse with water after this step. So I wanted to just use some ring pulls on this piece. So I was going to use the top hole in each of these parts of the drawer, but not the bottom hole. So I like to use dowels to fill in that hole space before I use Bondo. So to measure how deep the hole was, I just stuck a paintbrush tip in there, and then I drew around the paintbrush tip, and that would let me know how long to cut the dowels. Compare the paintbrush tip to the dowel that I would be using, and just mark 4 pieces for each of the 2 drawers. So these will be my cut marks. So I have 2 of them. I'm going up the dowel and marking my 3rd and my 4th piece. You can use different tools to cut this, but I just use a regular hacksaw, and I cut each of those dowel pieces, and then I insert them into the hole that they belong in. Take a hammer it in gently, and then I can fill it with some Bondo. Those dowels are in place. I use my Bondo all-purpose putty. It's a 2-part solution. That white stuff is the hardener. It comes in a tube. It also comes in blue or different colors, pink also. So I just mix that up. And as soon as I mix that up, I only have about 2 or 3 minutes before that Bondo hardens. So I'm going to place that over the holes that I filled with the dowels, and then I'll be ready to sand it in 20 minutes. I use 100 grit to start with to see if that's abrasive enough, and then I sand those holes smooth. I work up in grits, going from 100 to 150 to 180 until I have a nice smooth surface. In between grits of sandpaper, I also like to spritz a microfiber cloth with some water and rinse off all that old dust. grit I usually sand to is 180 or 220, and then they're ready. Scuff sand the rest of the piece just to rough up the finish and give the paint something to adhere to. It also smooths out any rough places in that finish. And again, I clean my surfaces thoroughly afterwards. And here you'll see me using an 80 grit screen. It's a sanding screen. And I also use the pad protector underneath it on my Surf Prep 3x4. I'm going to sand down this finish. I always like to sand the tops down, whether I'm going to stain them or paint them or whatever, because it just makes a smoother, even, beautiful finish on the top. And the top is one of the first things that people notice about your piece. So I didn't feel like this was going quite as smoothly and quickly as I wanted, so I used my carbide scraper to scrape off a lot of that thick finish that was on there. This just makes my job a lot easier when I go to sand. So now I'm using my Bondo glazing and spot putty. I love this stuff. I just use a little jumbo craft stick and I find all the little dents and divots in the piece and fill those in, sand it smooth, and it just comes out beautifully. Spots. So, had a lot of chicken pox. I decided I wanted to see what a blended gel stain look would look like on the top of this piece, so I spritzed my surface with water, and then I used 3 colors of this Lily Moon gel stain. It is water-based, it's low VOC, it's easy to work with, so I just cover the top of my piece with the gel stain, and then I use my blue sponge to go back and forth and blend it to my liking. And here you can see I wanted a little lighter in places or darker in places, so I choose colors and I just add a little more and then blend again to see if I like it. Just a little secret, there was a little spot that I filled that had a little bit of veneer burn through, which means when I was sanding, I sanded a little too aggressively in one area. I filled that spot, and after I filled that spot, I thought, well, this is a good solution to covering up that spot. So as I said, they're Lily Moon gel stains. They're water-based, easy to use. As you can see here, I also wanted the feet to match, so I did the same thing on the 4 feet that I had previously sanded down. So here I am sanding off those places where I had dents or dings, and look at the top. As you can tell, I put some Bondo spot putty on there because I really didn't like how that place that I had sanded through looked even after putting the Lily Moon gel stains on. So I'm gonna attach the feet. I fixed the dings in the top. I sanded it all down, and I've decided it's gonna go one color. Sometimes that happens when you're refinishing furniture. Now that I've got everything sanded down smoothly, I'm using this Aqua Lock Plus in white, and this is a white primer. I usually use black, and I've never used the white, so I'm going to try that out. And here you'll see I put it in my sprayer. I'm testing the pattern, and then I apply it to my entire piece. Primer is essential to use for bleed through, blocking stains, adhesion of your paint. I just never do a piece without using primer, but that's just me. Felt like it's a little thick, so I added a little bit more water and off we go. I'm much happier with how it's spraying now. This is a little trick I learned by using cardboard and putting it under the edge of the drawer and just spraying the edges. It goes so much quicker than having to tape up the drawer. Sometimes I have to sand off a tiny bit that gets on the side of the drawer, but most of the time it works very well. How easy it is to clean up my Wagner Flexio 3500. I unattached the motor, put it aside, and now I just have this unit. I unscrew each of the 3 pieces of the nozzle and I stick those in my soapy water that's in the cup. I take out the bottom piece, the nozzle, and then I rinse thoroughly. I use a brush, a bigger brush and a littler brush to get to all the pieces and clean that out. I rinse all of my pieces thoroughly after I have cleaned them out with some soapy water from my cup. See, it's pretty easy cleanup. There's only 3 little pieces and the nozzle and the hose and then my cup to clean out. I just let them dry and I'm ready for the next step. So my piece is all primed. Sometimes you will still have a little bleed through and you'll have to do a second coat on certain areas. Bleed through is the brown or pink area that shows through, as you can see right here, where I've sanded some to bare wood and the tannins in the wood have seeped through. I shellacked all those places. I use shellac in a can. And then you can see it looks like there's some spots still there, but that's just a little wood filler and I've sanded it down and that will cover just fine with my paint. It's hard to see, but this is a pink paint. It's going over a white primer, which is definitely a different color, but it's hard to see on camera. So this is me painting the first coat of my paint. This is Sherwin-Williams Emerald Urethane Trim and Enamel. It is a trim and cabinet paint, but it is perfect for furniture. I'm only going to be doing 2 coats of this. It will cover completely. It has a nice, smooth, self-leveling finish, and there is no top coat. It is very durable, and I do thin it out a little to make it much easier to spray through my sprayer. And here's a better shot, a close-up of that trick that I use with the cardboard. I learned this from several people on Instagram, so it pays to follow other furniture artists and watch YouTube videos. So I let my 2 coats of paint dry overnight, and I added these cute little gold ring pulls. I just love them. And here you'll see me adding some cute drawer liners to the bottom of both of these 2 drawers. I measure the drawers first, and then I measure my paper. Everybody does it differently, but I just find that this is what works for me. I also checked the measurements on both the drawers to make sure they were the same, because I like to cut the pieces of paper all out first and then line all the drawers right after that. I peeled back about 8 or 10 inches to give me a start on this drawer liner, and then I smooth that part down. Sometimes you have to reposition because it's not exactly where you want it, and thankfully this peel and stick wallpaper works well for that. I smooth that down, and then I slowly pull off the rest of the liner and smooth it with my smoothing tool. I use my large scraper as a guide and my X-Acto knife, and I just trim those edges. Here I'm using some Howard's Feed and Wax. I just put a little on my rag, and I wipe the wood down on the sides of the drawer. It just nourishes that wood and conditions it and gives it the moisture that it needs. I also will do that with the runners of the drawers so they can slide in and out more easily. And here I'm taking that conditioner and putting it on the runners on the inside of the drawer and just wiping all of that area down there. It just nourishes the wood. It has a light, very light scent, and it works really well. And here the drawers are going in. I always get so excited at this last step. You know that you're at the end and you can see it all put together, and it just looks beautiful. So are you ready to take a look? Here she is. Oh my goodness, how gorgeous, how beautiful, the color, the hardware, the contemporary feet. I just love this piece, and I know that someone will love it too. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. I love how it turned out. I love the sleek, beautiful color and the hardware. I love everything about it. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you'd like to keep getting videos such as this, please subscribe and hit that bell button down below, and then you'll get notified whenever I have videos that come out. So stay tuned to next time, and I'll see you later.